Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Now, I was asked, why are AK parts kits, why are the receivers and barrels cut up and everything? Well, honestly, that has to do with, one, the import laws into the US, but more importantly, the ATF standards of how to turn a firearm into a non-firearm. Basically, convert it back to sheet metal, to scrap metal, basically. And their method is multiple cuts along the receiver and cuts along the barrel. It wasn't always the case. Now, back in the day, it used to be all you had to do was cut the receiver in half. Cut one vertical cut across it, and it could have been done with a saw, even. And that's what we call the weldable kits, where you just stick them back together, weld them, and you had a basically the original receiver, weld it back together, ready to go. I'll throw a picture in. But yeah, back in the day, that's all that had to be done. In fact, AK parts kits, they would come with the original barrel and everything all intact. Well, throughout the years, recent years, honestly, the 2000s, 2010s, those laws have changed to, at one point it was 2 cuts along the receiver. The barrel could still be intact, if I remember. Then the barrel had to get cut. Then they switched it to where you can't even use a saw anymore. It has to be a torch. And it has to be torch cut and remove a 1/4 inch of material. And it has to be, I think, 3 cuts. Which is close to what this would be. Cut here. Cut diagonally and then cut horizontally and actually back up. Basically rendering it completely inoperable. This can't be welded back together. You're missing too much material. Can't be done. And the barrel's got to be cut into pieces. Now all this does is it makes a firearm into scrap metal. Basically, it's no longer considered a firearm anymore once this is done, because the receiver is your registered part and all that good stuff. Now, the import law side of this is basically importing a gun into the US. You can't import a machine gun because the registry has pretty much ended. It's actually completely legal to own a machine gun. Big misconception. It is actually even legal to make a machine gun. Modern day. But because you can't add it to the registry, you can't pay the tax on it. So then you get screwed because you can't pay the tax on it. A back-end loophole to screw us is basically all it is. But yeah, so with the import laws of full auto, even semi-automatic, okay, even if a semi-automatic, you bring it into the country, it's got to have basically a standard stock, no pistol grip, completely sporterized, you know, the whole no evil features kind of thing. Single stack magazine even. So, in fact, that's what most AKs, when they get imported, rifles anyway. Pistols are fine. You can import them any way you want. But rifles, if you import them, they are basically stock, single stack magazine and all, and they get converted over here. Now, like say this one here, it was standard. It was actually made in compliance with some of the restrictions that were coming in at the time. Because this is the Womb 1 kit from Romania. But not all the restrictions. Like the muzzle nut welded on, according to others. But now, if a country over Europe or whatever, they're sitting on a bunch of AKs and they want to import them, they'll help. It gets cut up somewhere in the process, whether it's the U.S. Importer that gets someone over there to do it, or whether it's whoever's selling the guns themselves gets them to do it. Either way, it gets cut up for basically the U.S. market. So, yeah, that's how the parts kit thing came about. I mean, originally, yeah, it was just one little cut that could be welded back together pretty easily. In fact, a guy recently got charged not that long ago. I'll post it.
Patrick Tate Adamiak, and he was in court this afternoon in Norfolk for a brief hearing, and federal investigators have laid out more of their case in court documents. In court documents, federal investigators say this historical machine gun part could be readily restored to being operational. And now investigators have arrested Patrick Tate Adamiak, who they say sold it. In court documents, investigators say he was trying to sell this and other machine gun parts. According
But yeah, he had basically a saw cut receiver that was 100% legal when he bought it. You know, when it came into the U.S., it's in the U.S. legal. But because the ATF changed their mind on how these had to be demilled, he got busted for an illegal machine gun. Now, in what world that makes any sense, I don't know, but when has the ATF ever made any sense? I would assume this case, I really haven't followed it that much. Got busy. But I assume this is going to get thrown out for this guy. I mean, it's just a complete bullshit case. But nonetheless, yeah, so our parts kits, they were 100% AKs. This one, of course, was always semi-automatic, but a lot of times they were full auto. And a full auto, of course, doesn't matter how it's set up feature-wise. It's getting cut up because it's full auto. You can't have a machine gun that's not on the registry here in the U.S., but hopefully I answered those questions. In fact, just to let everybody know, when you get one of these parts kits in, you got to follow the whole 922R compliance, where you have to have, if it's got those evil features on it and all, pistol grip, the threaded muzzle, different things like that, a double stack magazine. It's also got to follow 922R compliance, which is no more than 10 foreign parts on the gun out of a certain list of 10 foreign parts, 10 out of a certain list of 20 parts, sorry. But nonetheless, I might actually cover 922R. There's a lot of good videos on it. There's no need for me to, unless someone just wants me to. But anyway, that's it. That's the whole spiel around why the parts kits get cut up. Hopefully I explained it enough. Thanks for watching, everyone.